Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Marky Picks. And today I got another free prize pick slip for you covering today's Week 9 NFL action. I got 6 props for you guys, and I got a couple game picks. So hopefully there's something here that you guys are going to like. Before we get into the free picks, let's recap yesterday's college football prize pick slip. So on the channel, we went 4-2 on the prize pick slip. Real quick, Julian Sand was the one that tripped up here. Again, in my analysis, I said we were taking strength on strength here. Ohio State hasn't really been tested all year with their offense against a good defense. I thought this was a chance where Sand was going to struggle a little bit. That was not the case. Penn State wasn't able to get strong pressure on them, and when they did, the wide receivers were already running wide open down the field. So Penn State secondary didn't hold up very well at all in this game. Um, Easily cashed this line. So definitely unfortunate there. But moving on, Jane Mayava. I don't understand why this number was this high. It really didn't make any sense to me. You got USC, who's a hot weather kind of a team. They're traveling, out to Nebraska at night, and I believe this game was like the temperature was into like the 30s or low 30s. That's not what hot weather teams like to play in, especially when it comes to passing the ball. I believe Mayava was 9 for 23 in this game for 135 yards. So that's just not a great, throwing percentage there. And again, Nebraska's passing defense is very good, which this line just really made no sense. They didn't even drop at all. They only dropped to like 266 before lock. Um, yeah, so I mean, I think that was just an easy under there in this kind of spots, and they showed why there. Carson Beck over 16.5 fantasy score. No matter which one you took yesterday, if you took his regular passing yards or his fantasy score, like I said, it would have hit with ease. Um, Carson Beck did end up throwing 2 interceptions, so that's -2, fantasy score. If you take those 2 interceptions away, I had him projected for around 20, I think 20 points, 20.6 or something like that. He would have had, the projection 20 points. So I mean, the projection was strong on Beck today for both his passing yards and his fantasy score. Miller Moss, another one that I just felt was a little bit too high here. Taking on a Virginia Tech team that is coming off an emotional win a week ago, and their passing defense was very strong against California. They played, who's a very strong team. But Miller Moss in this game, Louisville did have good success, on offense, and that was with their rushing game. Isaac Brown, I believe, had some big runs, and I believe Keyshawn Brown, the backup running back, had a big game as well. So Louisville did damage in the rushing department, but not the passing department. Again, way under this line. Very good projection on Miller Moss today. CJ Bailey, another one. We really smashed some of these lines today. Very good chance of going 6 for 6 on this, but the ones that we did hit, they were easy cashes. CJ Bailey over 236.5 passing yards. Again, if you watch this game, he was at 215 passing yards at halftime. So I mean, that about says all you need to say about this prop. He did actually get hurt before the half, so I was a little concerned. Going into the half, he was favoring that ankle. He was limping, like he needed help getting off the field. So I didn't even know if he would come out for the second half. The way he was looking, but he did come out the second half and he looked pretty good. Didn't really affect him at all. So he was able to get those. We just needed those 22 more yards for this line, and he was able to get that. ZV Eckhouse, the one that tripped up here, he looked solid in the first half. If you took his regular passing yards line, I believe his regular passing yards line, not the combined stat that I took, was at 215.5. That would have probably been the better play here because Eckhouse got sacked like 4 times, I believe, in that first half, which was, that's like he had like minus, 25 rushing yards, I believe, to this stat. So I guess an Oregon State team that doesn't really get sacks at all on teams, they were able to generate 4 in one half. Eckhouse really should have just threw the ball away in those sacks he should have had. He held the ball way too long. He needed to get rid of it. That's the only thing about taking combined stats in college because sacks count against rushing yards. So I don't know how they have that as a rule because the NFL doesn't have that rule. It really is it really sucks if you take combined stats. But I really like this spot here. The second half though for Eckhouse, he didn't really do anything. Oregon State was really making it tough on him. But it was a good first half, passing yards line. But second half, he just didn't really do anything. I believe he only got like 40 passing yards in the whole second half. So the game did play a little bit slower. Just didn't get the amount of chances in the second half. But looking to close out the weekend on a strong note here for the NFL. Again, if you guys aren't in my Discord yet, go join it. I've already dropped tons of player props for today's NFL action. So if you guys don't like any of these props that I post on today's video, hop in the Discord and maybe you'll find something that you do like. And hopefully it helps you cash out on this Sunday. So again, link will be down in the description below. Go click on it. 100% free. You get free picks. Not only from me, but one of my buddies in there who's also posting free picks, who's very knowledgeable about the sports. So you're gonna find something in there that you guys like. So get yourself in there and enjoy those free picks. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into today's picks. First pick of the day, I'm rolling with Justin Herbert over 263.5 passing plus rushing yards. I got the Chargers taking on the Titans here, and this is a game that's, Chargers are favored by 9.5 points. I expect this to be a game where the Chargers go out there and dominate this game. This is a helpless Titans team. They're not very good at all. They're 1-7 on the year. And Justin Herbert, I feel like this line is really, really way too low for a guy like Justin Herbert here. I know it is on the road, but I don't think that's going to affect him here, really. Titans, they have, a stronger passing defense, but I don't know if they're going to be motivated to play this game. Herbert, the Chargers, they really want to rack up some wins here. I think this is an easy win they can get here. I don't know if they can cover the 9.5 points, but I do think the Chargers win. Again, getting this combined stat here, one thing the Titans do very well on defense is generate pressure on quarterbacks. So Herbert, he's already a guy that doesn't get flustered by pressure. And whenever he does get pressured, he's able to scramble and go get yards. So that's exactly what I'm expecting him to do in this game. I love his passing and rushing upside. That's why I'm taking the combined stat here. So really love the combined stat here. But if you want, a little bit more, safer route, if you think it's safer, but I like the combined stat because I feel like that's the safer route. But you couldn't take his, regular passing yards line. I think it's at like 244, I believe. But I do think Herbert can have like a big rushing day. I think he can get like 30 plus rushing yards. And Herbert's a guy that can smash his line just by passing anyway. I feel like this line is just a little bit too low here for this kind of game. So I love Justin Herbert here. I jump into pick number 2. I got Bryce Young under 199.5 passing plus rushing yards, and I got him projected at 184. So we got the Panthers taking on the Packers on the road. Not a good spot here for the Panthers. The Packers, one of the best teams in the league, and they have one of the best defenses in the league. And of course, on the other side of this game, they got Micah Parsons, so he's going to be in Bryce Young's face really all game. I'm really expecting that to be the case. So that's why I'm taking the combined stat under, because I don't like Bryce Young's rushing chances in this game. He's not really a guy that runs the ball anyway. He's averaging I think he's averaging like 6 yards a game, so that's not really a factor. He doesn't really. I think his biggest rushing game on the season was 16 yards. So, not really expecting the rushing upside to be there. Again, I think the sack upside is definitely going to be there. I think he's going to get sacked at least 3 times in this game. I can see that being a realistic number. But in terms of passing, again, when you're getting pressured like that, it's going to make things harder for you to throw the ball, especially for big yardages. So I like this under. One of my favorite picks on this whole slip. So great pick there. Number 3, J.J. McCarthy under 238.5 passing plus rushing yards. I got him at 225.8. Got the Vikings taking on the Lions here on the road. And this is a Lions team that you do not want to play right now. They are looking very, very good. And playing them at home, they are 8.5 point underdogs. And this Lions team that's been, they just came off a performance against the Buccaneers, where they played Baker Mayfield, who is really looking like one of the MVP candidates of the league so far this season. And they shut him down pretty good on that Monday night game. I believe it was Monday night. And the Lions are coming off a bye week as well. This is not a good spot here for J.J. McCarthy, especially since he's coming off that injury that he got in week 2, I believe. So he's missed, several weeks with that ankle injury he suffered. I believe it was a high ankle sprain. This was his first, real season in the NFL. So this is still considered a rookie here. And coming into this spot here, he's not going to have an easy time at all. I think this projection I have on him is actually a little bit too generous. I could easily see him having just a terrible, game in general. One of my favorite picks of the slip as well. If you want to run a 2-pick, I'll run J.J. McCarthy and Bryce Young on a 2-pick under slip. I think that's a very good chance of hitting, just because the spots these guys are in are not good at all. But J.J. McCarthy, definitely one of the tougher spots. Really love the under here. Pick number 4, got Christian McCaffrey over 132.5 rushing plus receiving yards. I got him at 162.3. 49ers taking on the Giants here on the road. They are 2.5-point favorites here. And I think this is just a smash spot for McCaffrey here. I expect McCaffrey to have one of those big-time games. The Giants just faced the Eagles last week, and Saquon Barkley ran for like 120-plus yards, I believe. Just crazy. And Christian McCaffrey's that type of level guy. I expect McCaffrey to do the same thing here. Maybe not on the rushing side, but definitely on the receiving side. But I do like his upside both here. I think there's a good chance he has a smash spot. I think this line here for 132.5 is a little bit too low, actually. It is a big number, I understand that. But in a game that is supposed to be semi-competitive, and either game script is going to work in McCaffrey's favor. You know, if they're winning, he's going to run the ball more. If they're trailing, he's going to get more receiving targets because he's really the number one option at both rushing and receiving. So I don't think the Giants have a chance to stop McCaffrey in this game. I think McCaffrey's going to have a smash spot game here. Really love this pick here for McCaffrey. So pick number 5, I got James Cook over 14.5 fantasy score, and I got him projected at 16.7. So this is the game of the week. I think all eyes are going to be tuning on to this game. This game is always a must-watch type of game. Very fun, very high scoring. And I think this is a game where, James Cook, the Bills are playing at home, by the way, and it is a 1.5-point spread. I believe the Chiefs were actually favored. But I do like the Bills in this game at home. The Bills home crowd, they're a really passionate fan base, and they're going to show up and make things tough on the Chiefs. But in terms of, motivation for their players, I like James Cook here to have a smash spot. In a game that's supposed to be some points scored, I expect both teams to get up into like the 30s. I really think this is a game where there's going to be very high scoring, not a lot of defense. And James Cook, this fantasy score line just feels really, really, really low here for this kind of game. I mean, you're looking at about one touchdown and around, 70 yards. He's going to smash this line pretty easily. And that's not even factoring in his receiving game, which he's not the biggest receiving threat in their offense. He doesn't really get many targets, but in this kind of game script, anything can happen in this kind of game. He could be a guy that gets receiving volume. So to get this fantasy score at 14.5, another one that I just really, really love. I love a lot of these picks. One of my favorite slips that I posted on the channel. And I really haven't felt that way over the last, week or so. But I really feel confident about this slip. And again, James Cook is going to go a long way in helping this slip out, getting in that money. So last pick of the slip, got Ashton Jeanty under 62.5 rushing yards. I got him at 51.5. So this is probably my riskiest pick on this slip. It's my least favorite one. So we got the Raiders taking on the Jaguars. The Raiders are at home for this game, and they are 2.5-point favorites. This is a game where they're taking. I just don't like the matchup for this game. That's really why I'm taking the under. And Jeanty's been a guy that's really just been averaging around 60 yards on the ground per game this season. He's actually smashed his line in 4 of 5 games this year, but they're barely going over. It's not like, he's just smashing. He had one game where he had like 100-plus yards. It's one of those, blind squirrel type of games. But he's not been smashing. I think he got 63 rushing yards against the Commanders in one game. I think he got like 67 in one, and he got like 60 in one. So, and last week he had like a terrible game when they just got blown out by the Chiefs. He didn't really get any carries. He only had like 13 yards, I believe. That was just a bad game script. I don't expect a blowout here. I do expect this game to stay competitive, but in this matchup here, the Jaguars, they have been really, really good at stopping the run, especially over the last couple games. They've been really shutting down the run in terms of yards per rush, one of the lowest in the league in that span. I expect that to continue in this spot here. Again, 62.5. I think this line could drop down a little bit, maybe to 60. But getting at 62.5, I think a little bit cushion there. Again, but it is my least favorite because, Jeanty's been a pretty solid producer so far, getting around that 60-yard mark. So this is definitely going to be one of those that's probably going to be a sweat. But hopefully a game script plays in our advantage here. Hopefully the Jaguars, play with the lead in this game, and possibly limits, Gentry's carries. So, but again, coming off of last week's performance where he didn't really get a lot of volume, he could very well, spike up in volume this week. So, again, it is one of my riskiest picks. So, take it with caution, but I do think it has a good chance of hitting. So that's the game prize pick props. Here are my game picks for today. Got the Lions minus 8.5. Taking on the Vikings here. I just really love this Lions team right now. They're playing really good football, and they're playing at home. They're one of the best teams playing at home. They're coming off a bye week. I think all things are just pointing in favor of the Lions. They're facing J.J. McCarthy on the other side. That's, coming off injury. It's not really a good situation right now for the Vikings. I really do think the Vikings struggle in this game. And another stat that I heard on this line is I heard that the Lions were like 9-0 against the Vikings, covering the spread. So, I mean, that's just another, little stat nugget, to throw into this pick. Really like the Lions minus 8.5. Steelers and Colts under 51.5. I mean, this is kind of an interesting kind of pick here. This is going to go one or two ways. It's either going to be low scoring or it's going to be high scoring. Both of these defenses have shown that they can be good, pretty strong this season, but they've also shown that they can get, scored on. So it's kind of one of those, flip-flopping on each side. We're going to know pretty early on how this game is going to go. I just think 51.5 points is a pretty good amount of points for these teams that have pretty strong defenses, but can be, having those scores on them, every once in a while. So it's going to be interesting to see how that one plays out, but I do like the under. And Bills money line, it's going to be game of the week. I just like the Bills here at home, just because they're at home. I mean, their home field advantage is a very, good thing to have in their back. So I think this is a spot where the Bills come out here. Josh Allen has a pretty strong game. James Cook gets a touchdown, has a pretty big rushing day, and Mahomes isn't able to make enough plays to, save the Chiefs there at the end. I think this also could be as one of those spots where whoever has the ball last ends up winning. It usually always is. But again, Bills money line. Really love this pick here to close out to the video. So, yeah, that's it for today's video, guys. If you liked it, once again, smash the like and subscribe button. Helps me out a ton. Helps get these videos out to more people that need free picks. And, again, if you're not in the free Discord, link down below. Unlock more of my free content. All 100% free. You're also going to get other picks from one of my buddies who's also dropping free picks. So, there's going to be something there that you guys are going to find. Something that you guys are going to like. So, hop on into the Discord. Once again, 100% free. So, don't miss out on any of the free props for today's NFL action. So, that's it for today's video, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.